I've watched hundreds of people try to start vending machine businesses, and I can tell with near certainty who will quit within 6 months. It has nothing to do with intelligence or how much cash they have. It comes down to one question. Do they believe the passive income fantasy, or are they prepared to run a demanding logistics operation? The internet is full of gurus selling the same dream. Buy a metal box, fill it with snacks, and let it produce money for you. Today, we're putting that dream aside. We're going through the real numbers, the common traps, and the parts of the vending business most people discover only after they've already spent the money. My name is Maxwell. On this channel, I look at businesses that promise easy money and figure out where the profit is real and where the problems are hiding. Vending machines are a perfect example. They're often sold as the ultimate passive income side hustle. Buy a machine, place it somewhere busy, and collect cash while you sleep. It sounds simple and practical. More importantly, it feels real. This isn't an obscure crypto coin or another online course. It's a physical, old-school business you can see and touch. That makes the pitch incredibly convincing. But the machine doesn't find its own location. It doesn't persuade a property manager to give it space. It doesn't refill the popular items when they sell out, and it definitely doesn't repair its own coin jam at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Most beginners think they're buying a machine that prints money. What they're really starting is a demanding, hands-on logistics business disguised as a row of snacks. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 truths that separate the handful of operators who make money from the thousands who quietly give up after a few frustrating months. The dream versus the reality. It's easy to understand why this business is so appealing. On paper, a vending machine looks like the perfect employee. It doesn't need a salary, never calls in sick, and can operate 24 hours a day without complaining. It simply sits there and turns foot traffic into sales. The online success story usually follows the same pattern. Buy one machine, find a location, earn a few $100s each month. Then one machine becomes 2, 2 become 5, and eventually you have a small passive income empire. That story feels achievable because it skips every detail that makes the business difficult. It doesn't mention that a poor location may earn less in a month than you would spend on one dinner. It ignores the fact that a cheap used machine can become an endless repair bill. Vending business is not really about owning vending machines. It's about building routes, controlling inventory, planning deliveries, selling locations on your service, and handling customer problems. The machine is only the storefront. Everything around it is the business, and that invisible work is what catches most beginners off guard. At Truth 1, the location is the business. This is the most important rule in vending, yet many beginners learn it last. They spend weeks, sometimes months, scrolling through Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for the perfect deal. They compare payment systems, coil types, and cabinet sizes before securing a single viable location. That order is backward. Experienced operators are obsessed with location. They don't begin with, which machine should I buy? They begin with, where could a machine actually make money? A brand new, top-of-the-line machine in an empty hallway is a 400-pound paperweight. An older but dependable machine in a busy employee break room can be extremely profitable. The location determines the opportunity. Even then, raw foot traffic is not enough. A busy office lobby may look promising, but it won't help if everyone is rushing through without stopping. You need what operators call captive or lingering traffic, people who remain in one place for a while and don't have many convenient alternatives. Good examples include break rooms, laundromats, auto repair waiting areas, manufacturing plants, and 24-hour gyms. People in those places are likely to become bored, hungry, or thirsty while they wait or work. As a rough guideline, a strong location usually has a consistent daily population of at least 50 to 100 people, a captive audience, and few easy alternatives nearby. Weak location has the opposite characteristics. The worst move is buying the machine first, and then becoming so desperate to place it that you accept a bad location. Secure a worthwhile location before buying the equipment. The machine is simply the tool used to serve that location. Truth 2, hidden costs eat the passive income. The second myth is that revenue and profit are the same. A beginner opens the cash box, finds $100, and thinks the machine made $100 that week. It didn't. It collected $100. Profit is what's left after every expense gets paid. Start with the cost of goods sold, or COGS. The snacks and drinks are not free. Product costs commonly take about 40 to 50% of the selling price. Before considering anything else, your $100 in revenue may already be down to around $50. Then there may be a commission. Good locations often want to share because they're providing the space and electricity. Some places won't charge anything, but commissions of 10 to 25% of sales are common. Suppose the location takes 15%. That's another $15 gone, leaving $35 from the original $100. Now account for spoilage. Not every item will sell. Some will sit in the machine until they expire, and every expired snack is a complete loss that comes directly out of the margin. You also have to drive to the location and restock. That means fuel and wear on the vehicle. If the round trip costs $10, the remaining $35 drops to $25. Time matters too. If servicing the machine takes an hour and you value that hour at $20, you've made only $5. The passive income machine has turned into a job paying less than minimum wage. And those still aren't all the costs. Card readers are effectively required today, and their transaction fees often work out to 3 to 6% per sale. There may also be insurance and business license costs. Then come the repairs. A bill validator can fail. The coin mechanism can jam. The cooling unit in a drink machine can stop working. One service visit may cost anywhere from $100 to $500, enough to erase months of profit from that machine. Operators who fail focus on the cash in the box. Operators who last track every one of these expenses. Truth 3, you're running logistics, not selling snacks. If you own one machine as a hobby, thinking like a snack seller may be enough. If you want to make real money, you need to think like a logistics operator. The profit doesn't come from one bag of chips. It comes from making the whole operation efficient. Your two biggest controllable costs are usually time and fuel. Imagine one machine located 30 minutes from home. Servicing it requires a 1-hour round trip. Now imagine buying 2 more machines, each 30 minutes away in completely different directions. You could spend 3 hours driving before doing any actual work. That route is difficult to scale and expensive to maintain. Strong operators care about route density. They don't simply collect locations. They look for locations close to one another. They may reject an excellent location 45 minutes away and choose a decent one 5 minutes from 2 machines they already service. That choice lets them handle 3 machines during one efficient trip. The isolated location might earn more by itself, but it can still produce less profit after the extra travel time and fuel. This is how a vending route scales. 20 machines scattered across a 50-mile radius aren't necessarily better than 5 machines with every stop less than 10 minutes from the next. The smaller, denser route may be far more valuable. The same thinking applies to daily operations. Use sales data to plan visits instead of driving to machines that are still full. Organize the vehicle so the right products are easy to reach, and restocking takes minutes rather than an hour. The fantasy is visiting whenever you feel like collecting cash. The reality is a disciplined schedule designed to save time and money. You're not just selling snacks, you're managing a route. Truth 4, your first machine can become a money pit. A cheap used machine is hard for a beginner to resist. You might find a snack machine listed for $500 on Facebook Marketplace and feel like you found an incredible deal. New machine can cost several $1,000s, so buying used appears to remove most of the startup risk. But there's often a reason the machine is cheap. Professional operators sometimes remove old machines from their routes because they have become unreliable. Those machines may have intermittent faults that don't appear during a quick test in someone's garage. The bill validator may work perfectly during the test and then decide it only wants to cooperate on Tuesdays. The coin mechanism may jam repeatedly. You usually discover those intermittent problems after the machine has been installed. Appearance also affects sales. Customers may avoid a machine that looks faded, damaged, or extremely old because they worry it will take their money without dispensing anything. That bargain machine can quietly lose sales every day. Repairs are the larger danger. Suppose you pay $500 for a machine and it runs well for 3 months. You make a few $100s in profit and start feeling confident. Then the bill validator fails. A technician charges $250 for the replacement part and service visit. In one afternoon, the quarter's profit disappears. 2 months later, a motor burns out and costs another $150. The machine is now losing money. Instead of buying an asset, you bought somebody else's recurring problem. This doesn't mean every beginner needs a brand new machine. High-quality refurbished machine from a reputable company is often the better compromise. It should have been inspected, cleaned, and updated with reliable modern parts before being sold. It will cost more than a random online bargain, but it also lowers the chance of an immediate repair bill. Your first machine should be dependable because you don't have a full route of profitable equipment to absorb a major failure. Starting with an unreliable machine is like entering a race while already injured. Truth 5. There is no perfect product list. No product selection works in every location. A common beginner mistake is filling the machine with personal favorites and assuming everyone else wants the same snacks. That's how you end up throwing away expired inventory. The right products depend on the people using that specific machine. An upscale office may sell protein bars, trail mix, and premium sparkling water. Put the same selection in a factory, and it may perform terribly. Workers there might prefer honey buns, salty chips, and energy drinks. A gym gym may sell protein shakes. Apartment building might do well with single-use laundry pods. Good operators don't guess, they test and track. On the first visit, they may stock a broad mix of products. And after that, every restocking trip becomes a small research mission. They check what sold, what stayed behind, and which items sold out first. If one type of chip hasn't sold a single bag in a month, it gets removed. Every slot in the machine is valuable. A slow product takes space away from something customers may actually buy. The operator replaces it, watches the result, and keeps testing. They also ask people directly. A note on the machine can invite suggestions. The receptionist or property manager may know exactly what people keep requesting and wishing they could buy. This turns inventory selection from a guessing game into a process based on evidence. Remove slow sellers to reduce waste and give more space to the items that consistently sell out. Beginners stock what they think people want. Successful operators stock what the sales data proves people want. Conclusion: is the vending machine business a scam? No, it can be a solid and profitable business, but it is not passive income. It's a hands-on logistics business that demands attention, organization, and real work. The machine you buy won't decide whether you succeed. Your decisions will. Choose the location first. Track the full cost of every sale. Build a dense route, use reliable equipment, and let sales data guide the inventory. People who fail often chase the passive income dream. They buy a machine, place it somewhere, and hope the money appears. People who succeed treat vending like a serious operation. They become part-time logisticians, part-time salespeople, and part-time data analysts. The machine is only the tool they use. If you came here looking for an effortless money printer, this probably isn't the answer you wanted. But the honest answer is that a profitable vending business is possible when you stop treating it like a quick money scheme and start running it like a real company. The route is the business, not the machine. If this reality check helped, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm to share the video with more people considering this business. Subscribe for more breakdowns that separate business hype from what the numbers actually show. Next, we're investigating laundromats. Are they the ultimate cash flow business, or are there expensive problems hiding behind the machines? And if you want a step-by-step breakdown of how I would find and secure a profitable vending location before spending anything on a machine, comment vending below. I'll see you in the next one.